This section we'll be looking at composite functions, that is, putting functions together to make a new one. So if we have function f, we have function g, the composite function will be f parentheses g parentheses x, read f of x, or f following g. You'll also see these composite functions written with this little o, f-o-g. Just like when we're simplifying, when we have a whole bunch of fractions, we're going to start the innermost point with g and work our way out to f. In terms of this function machine, really what we have now is a bigger machine. And if we take this machine and we look under the cover, we see that there's really two small machines inside working. We take x and we drop it in, it doubles, and then add 3. So that machine is doing 2x plus 3. Sorry, that's g of x. And then that output gets dropped into the f machine. So the f machine, f of x, takes the input and raises to the 4th power. Algebraically, here's what's happening. This is equal to function f, something to the 4th power. That's what f does. It raises things to the 4th power. But what's the input for f? The input for f is going to be g. That's the way I like to think about it. I take this outermost machine and I leave an empty space for what goes into it, and then I plug the other function into that empty space. In general, it matters what order you line up these machines. If you line up the machines one way, you might get socks. If you line them up another way, you might get underwear. So you have to be careful which way you're lining up your function g and function f machines. And we're going to see that when we do this example. We have two functions, f and g. I want f of g and g of f. Remember, another way to write this is like that. So what I'm going to do algebraically, I'm going to start with this outermost thing, and I'm going to leave empty spaces so that g can drop its output into it. So f says take 2 times whatever gets put into it and then add 1. Now what's coming out of the g machine? That's what gets put into here. So we're putting x in, and what are we getting out? We're getting out 3 minus 4x. So that thing is right here. And now we can simplify. Seven minus 8x. Now going the other direction, 3 minus 4x, so that's my g machine. That's the last thing that stuff is going to get done to. What is function f, the first machine, going to drop in? It's going to drop in 2x plus 1. And now we're simplifying. Negative 1 minus 3x. And notice these two things not the same. You have to be careful when you're doing this. Now, another example, we've got f of x, g of x. Find g of f of negative 1. Now notice this has a value here instead of just x. So what machine am I going to plug in negative 1 to first? That's an important question we have to answer. This machine we use is function f. So I'm going to find f of negative 1 first. F of negative 1 says take 6 times negative 1 minus 5. So f of negative 1 is equal to negative 11. That's what's coming out of the first machine. So I'm going to diagram this with one of these function machine pictures. So here's f of x. What did I drop in? I dropped in negative 1. what came out? Negative 11. Now we have a new machine that negative 11 falls into. This is g of x. So negative 11 comes in, what's going to come out? So what I'm really finding here is g of negative 11. G says to take x squared plus x. (121 minus 11) is 110. Now we could have done this algebraically too if we wanted, and then plugged in our answer at the very end, or our value at the very end. We could have found what the big overall all-encompassing machine is, like back here, this yellow machine. We can look at it individually, or we can look at it as the big yellow machine. So let's find that big yellow machine. Let's continue working with this, but I'm going to find g of f of x. So this take function g and put in the output from function f, which is 6x minus 5. Now I can expand this out. (36x squared minus 54x plus 20), and I bet if we plug in negative 1 here and here, we will get 110. It accomplishes the same feat, just in a slightly different way. But now we got to deal with G, or we got to deal with part B. All these letters, G's, B's, E's, they're all sounding like. So here I want f of 0. Let's start with this f first. F of 0. We plug 0 into the f machine. F of 0 is not 0, it's negative 5. So what do we do with that now? Now it says to take that output from the first machine and plug it into the second one. The second machine we're using is F again. So f of 0 is equal to negative 35.